city. And the Western development, we're looking at what is Western development, Rupo Hills, Pramama Hills, and Azabadai Hills are all concentrated in Vinatogu. So my next question is, why Vinatogu? And is there any network effect on these three developments?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's correct. We built some huge project for community and libraries, blah, blah, blah. The correct thing is a continuous and expansive pattern to the area growth. So, and if each hill has its original, its own unique character, and appeal, it will become a diverse and attractive city. This is always basic concept. People will be, so each city, between each city, each hills, people will be able to move actively between hills and resulting in a vibrant city area. There is a potential for simultaneous, but the only one concern is simultaneous damage, like a big earthquake hits the area. So, but close fields, existing close fields is good for the area, development, area's value. This is more basic concept.
Thank you. The Mori building has achieved many success stories so far. And could you share your company's vision and philosophy for the future?
Yes, this project is making. We will strive to build a resilient city, and we will be contribute to the society through our development project. This is key concept, the very most important concept of revolution. So contribution is important. Contribution is accepted by the community and the government and the local society. So we will still continue to our project for local contribution.
In your presentation, you mentioned the local media takes about over 20 years, right? You have to communicate with the locals several decades on this. Were there any significant challenges you faced, and how did you address it?
The key is it's taking long time, as I mentioned. As for years, 17 years, 9 years, 34 years. So the key is how to the local original landowner, how can local original landowner wait for the long time. Some of them are from 70 years old, then he was 70 years old, but the completion timing, they may not start it. So it is very tough issue. And the government, theoretically, the government is theoretically 4/5 of the improvement. We can go to both progress and project, but it is theory. But government asked us, you should get full improvement from the local society. This is government.
Yes, I discussed about this approval issue with my Japanese colleagues that officially means they have to get approval from the locals like two-thirds, like 60%, but all officials actually almost 99% of approval. So it takes a lot. And my next question is to our colleagues from Europe. Company emphasize on sustainability is quite remarkable. And could you explain why sustainability has become such a focus on your organization?
In Europe, it's really seen as part of the cost of doing business at this point because it is linked to the commercial success of the investment. Most investment managers and developers have an ESG or sustainability team in-house. You might call it different things. I've heard it called resiliency, longevity, ESG, sustainability. But it's seen as something that's vital to the operations of your company and the financial success of the investments. And I think with AI, we're actually able to process all of the data we collect and be much more effective in how we use that. And it's very early in those stages, of course. But I think it's just seen in Europe as the default. It is no longer a bonus or a specialist area. It's you have a legal department, you have an ESG department. It's just part of the landscape at this point. And I think most investors and developers from outside Europe who do want to present in the market realize that this is that's part of the price of entering the market. If you do your homework, you'll realize this is something that's very important to either have in-house or have a very good advisor who's working with you.
But to achieve this meaningful sustainability outcomes, public incentives seem quite essential. I think they will. What types of incentives oil business need to do? Could you elaborate on green financing on your presentation?
To look at the London market, or one market where we are very active, planning and zoning in the UK is a fairly arduous process. It can take quite a long time. So anything you can do to speed up the planning permit process is really beneficial. You can shorten the time it takes to receive a planning permit significantly. You are working with the municipality, and of course the government has a lot of, it's in their interest to ensure that new developments are sustainable. So I suppose that's more about risk mitigation than incentive per se. That's a very critical part for us in the UK market in particular. Green financing, this has been a really interesting development over the last 5 years even. 5 years ago, if you were working with an institutional lender, you could probably receive a green return on your financing if your acquisition and development was seen as having a green aspect. 5 basis points, 10 basis points. That's no longer the case, and that's because the institutional lenders simply will not lend on a building that seems to be unsustainable. You either have to acquire a building that's already green, or acquiring a brown building. There has to be a very clear business plan with steps on the pathway to make it sustainable. And it's not a matter of price being more expensive, it's simply not available. So this is, I think, a reflection of the fact that it's part of the cost of doing business in Europe.
Thank you very much. Next question for our only Korean developer, also Mr. Kim. Chairman Kim has played one of the greatest roles to host this great event. If other panelists don't mind, I would like to ask him in Korean, because I'm Korean, he's Korean, also is Korean. 김 회장님의 취지에 이제 상당한 부분이 데벨로퍼로 성장을 했고, 그리고 이제 이 종합부동산 데벨로퍼 성장으로 평가받고 있고, 또 해외에서도 이제 푸시가 같이 2개 프로젝트를 하는 걸로 알고 있습니다. 그래서 이 어떤 계기로 이 해외 투자를 시작했고, 미래의 것에 아웃바운드로 투자하는 계획이 계속 있는지 궁금합니다.
먼저 이렇게 많은 분들한테 감사해서 먼저 드리고 시작하겠습니다. 이번 귀한 시간 내주셔서 감사하는 말씀 드리고 싶습니다. 저희 회사는 사실 제가 사업 초기부터 되게 개발뿐만이 아니라 개발, 그리고 산업, 문학과 쪽, 저희 아까 문준회장님 종합고대 디벨로퍼라고 말씀하셨는데 저희도 그런 쪽을 따라가고 싶었습니다. 종합 디벨로퍼. 그래서 가고 싶었고. 근데 이렇게 요즘 시장 환경을 보면 저희 입장에서 보면 토지비는 급하게 오고 공사도 오고 규제는 강하고 자본 조달은 어려워. 그래서 이게 한번 고민을 하게 됐습니다. 국내 시장은 되게 나중에 어려울 수도 있겠다. 그래서 제 생각에는 해외도 나가보고, 저는 원래 미국에 여행 다니는 걸 좋아했습니다. 미국 시장을 해보고 싶었다. 그런 과정에서 시장 컨테너를 되었습니다. 국내에서 우리가 그동안 몇십 년간 해온 저희들 인디아파크의 강점이 있어서 저희 가지고 있는 노하우나 강점이 푸시하고 잘 협업해보면 좋은 기회가 있지 않을까 싶어서 했습니다. 사람이 어디는 아까 다 들으셨겠지만 우리나 큰 도시나 큰 나라의 디벨로퍼는 사람 다 똑같더라고요. 저는 구시회장하고 처음 미팅 때 처음 보고 그 전에 사전에 공부 있었지만 미팅 끝나고 내려가는 엘리베이터에서 저 알았었는데 약속하자 이렇게 결정했습니다. 제가 앞으로 미래에는 결국은 미국에 나가 회의에 나갔습니다. 결국 단독지피로서 한번 해보고 싶은 강한 욕심이 있습니다. 그래서 요즘은 K2, K2라고 저희 K 디벨로퍼로서 한번 저희가 해보고 싶은 생각이 있습니다.
CP로서의 그 역할을 해외에서도 즐기고 싶어하고요. 아까 말씀 중에 이제 FT 말씀을 하셔서 이제 국토부에서 지금 플랫폼 위치가 도입되면 더 큰 자기 자본이 준비할 텐데 사실 외국 같은 경우에는 FT 지금 높긴 하지만은 FT 금융 파트너들이 같이 하는 경우가 많은데 이런 물론 저는 FT 좀 높은 거에 대해서 개인적으로 찬성을 합니다만 그래도 현실을 봤을 때 이런 현재같이 높은 토지 올라가는 시공비 상황에서 이 업계 자체가 문제가 틀릴 수 있습니다. 이 내역인으로 그리고 시공사 위주로 잡혀야 될 것 같다는 제 생각도 약간 의견도 존재하는데 그럼 대표님 보시기에 이제 미래 우리나라 부동산 개발 형태가 어떻게 변모하기가 그런지
지금 시장이 개발 사업력이 확실히 어려워진 건 사실입니다. 훨씬 더 큰 자본을 요구하고 훨씬 더 전문성을 요구하는 시장이 어다 보니까 아무래도 요즘은 다 대형 디벨로퍼 회사고 대형사로 집행되지 않을까라는 생각들을 하고 또 소규모 연쇄식 디벨로퍼들은 진입점들이 높아졌다고 생각합니다. 하나 제 생각에는 한국 개발 시장이 대기업으로만 갈 것 같지는 않습니다. 분명히 대기업하고 이렇게 디벨로퍼는 유명없이 차이점이 제가 보면 유연한 사고, 또 빠른 결정이에요. 그리고 또 되게 중소규모의 디벨로퍼라고 해도 기능이 뛰어난 친구들이 많거든요. 저는 이게 대형 디벨로퍼로 가지는 않을 것 같다. 그러기 위해서는 저는 아까도 입직을 했는데 제가 이런 자리에서는 이런 말씀을 드려봤는데 저는 항상 그런 얘기 하거든요. 이해하시죠? 야, 돈이 없지, 땅이 없지 않다. 저한테 누가 하면 차분하고 기다리고 집에서 되게 잘해요. 그게 가장 중요한 건데 이런 요소도 그리고 이제는 협업을 해야 되는 시장이 있습니다. 저도 예전에 동업하는 거 되게 싫어했고 혼자 싸우는 걸 좋아했는데 이제는 시장이 커지고 다른 자본을 요구할 때는 결국은 파트너십 역량이 중요하지 않을까 싶습니다. 여기 계신 분들 제가 보면 다 우리가 보통 이렇게 지나가다 보면 야 이제는 앞으로 시장이 자본 사업의 30%는 있어야 사업해. 근데 결국은 이 글로벌을 보면 이 에코티 30%에 대한 세분화가 잘 되어 있습니다. 근데 아직 우리나라는 자본들이 그런 걸 잘 모르고 경험해보지 못한 결국 그런 데서 수익을 못 받겠죠. 근데 이런 것에 대한 이제 파트너십이 또이 기관들을 이해관계 이 정도 있으면 저희가 뭐 대기업도 완전히 집행될 것 같지는 않습니다.
예, 우선 이게 사실 마켓이 여러 세그먼트가 있다는 것을 너무 감사합니다. 이 마켓 세그먼테이션 questions I like to ask Mr. Lowen because Fukushima cover lots of areas in the States. So my question is about as your company expands into various regions, what factors do you consider most critical for successful expansion? Yeah, you cover a lot of areas, various regions. What factors do you consider?
Thank you. As I said earlier, we look for the fundamental data points of any sub-market that we're interested in. Population growth is certainly number one. Jobs, very, very important. Transportation, infrastructure is paramount. Right? And then, obviously, you're going to look at that kind of related to the first things I mentioned, but the average household income that you're going to have in your areas of interest, which will determine what type of product will make sense.
When I see this questionnaires presentation, you're focused on high income areas, or you also consider the middle income areas, middle income area, middle income neighborhood?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that over the last 4 years, our strategy has continued to evolve. I think that if you had we been here when Koda was created 20 years ago, that's my 2005, January 28th, which was my birthday. But had we been here, I would have told you we are focused on middle areas and workforce housing. Okay, that was really the way to define our strategy, workforce housing. I think over the last 5 to 7 years, our strategy has evolved. You heard earlier my partner Nicole talk about the new brand that we created, Livana. Livana is aimed for, I would say, higher end of the spectrum in terms of income. And if you look at our portfolio today, our portfolio consists of a lot of the 27,000 apartments we own. There's still a big chunk of that pertains to the middle income strategy that we had for so many decades. And over the last 5 to 10 years, as our strategy started to shift, we started selling some of these assets. We started building newer assets. So newer assets would be 2010 and now, as well as being a very active developer and now managing the newly delivered apartments. And by definition, newly delivered apartments tend to be very attractive for the upper end of the spectrum.
Relevant to your answer, because of the volume, you have 27,000 units, right? So you also involved in affordable housing development?
So not in the US, affordable housing is a very specific definition. We do not concentrate in affordable housing as a capital A. I will say though that in a lot of our development projects in New Jersey, when you get permits and the zoning to build, you need to have 10 to 20% of your apartments that will be delivered affordable. So we have that in all of the development projects that we're delivering in New Jersey, approximately 10 to 20% powerful.
Thank you very much for your answer. So my next question is to Mr. Murray. So yes.